We'll start up with the next problem. As discussed in the previous video, we'll be taking up now problem which has roller follower, and I'll also deal with the problem which involves a follower moving with cycloidal motion. So far we have covered uniform velocity, simple harmonic motion, and uniform acceleration and retardation motion. This will be the last type of follower motion, that is cycloidal. So that will be covered up in this problem. And one more thing which I am changing is the type of follower. From knife edge we are shifting it to now roller follower. So you can take down the problem. I'll dictate the problem, and also again I will be writing all the important given data in the problem on the board. The following data relate to a cam profile in which the follower moves with cycloidal motion during the lift of the follower, and it returns with uniform velocity while returning. Minimum radius of the cam is 30 mm. So minimum radius, we call it as base circle radius. So this is given as 30 mm base circle radius. Roller radius is 10 mm. Roller radius is 10 mm. Maximum lift of the follower, which we denoted by small h. Lift of the follower, I am denoting it by small h, is given as 45 mm. Angle of ascent, that is theta naught, is given as 70 degrees, and the type of motion is cycloidal. It is followed by a dwell period, so theta d 45 degrees, and it returns for the next 120 degrees, so that is theta r is 120 degrees with uniform velocity. So this is the data. Now before starting with the displacement diagram, if at all you are given a problem which has this type of motion, that is cycloidal motion, then we need to do a small calculation to estimate the radius of the cycloidal roller. So you can just write down the radius of rolling circle, I'll write here, is given by h is equal to 2 pi r, where h stands for maximum lift, so which is given as 45, equal to 2 pi r, where r stands for the radius of rolling circle. So I'll just tell you where we are going to use this radius in drawing the displacement diagram. So if we just solve this, I guess you will get somewhere around 7 mm, close to 7 mm. Yes. So if I solve this, I'll get r equal to 7.1 mm. Okay, so this is one small additional calculation that you need to do only when the cam profile construction requires you to draw a cycloidal follower displacement. So whenever cycloidal motion is involved, you need to calculate the radius of the rolling circle, which is coming out to be here 7.1 mm. Okay. We'll just erase this to draw the displacement diagram over here. So we'll just remember this data, that is 7.1 mm. Okay. Displacement diagram. Okay. So as usual, the steps, initial few steps will remain same. I need to draw a rectangle whose height will be equal to maximum lift, that is 45 mm, and whose width will be equal to corresponding 360 degrees of rotation. Let me darken this. Yeah, I have not completed the rectangle, so I'll see at the end how much, whatever is the dwell period, we can calculate and do it. So first thing is I'll measure the rise stroke, which is for 70 degrees. So theta naught equal to 70. Okay, 70 degrees. So you can choose a scale as equivalent to 7 centimeters, or if you want further down, then you can reduce it. So I would generally take 70 degrees equal to 7 centimeters. Next we have dwell period of 45 degrees. That means it will be 4.5 centimeters. Okay. So this is theta d, which is equal to 45 degrees. Okay, I have got the rise stroke, I have got the dwell stroke. At the end, we are supposed to mark the return stroke, which is 120 degrees. That means 12 centimeters. So this is theta r return stroke, which is equal to 120 degrees. Okay, I hope it is clear till this step, because these are the common steps. After marking rise, dwell and return stroke, the remaining portion will be again dwell period. How I am concluding the remaining portion is dwell period is, if you add these, it will not be equal to 360. That means there is still some degree of rotation left, which will be dwell period, and we are not concerned about the remaining dwell period in the cam profile. Hence, what you can do is you can just randomly draw up to some length and show a zigzag line over here, which indicates that it is having still further distance, which we are not concerned over here. We are only concerned with the rise stroke, dwell stroke and return stroke. So once we complete marking of these three strokes, again the next step is common for all the problems. I will have to divide the rise stroke and return stroke into fixed number of divisions, and what we have done in the previous classes, we have done with the 6 divisions. We will continue with the same thing. So I am going to divide the I am not sure if you have heard my audio before, because I think there was some problem with the mic. So what I'll do is I'll just quickly recap and repeat whatever I've said. This is the problem statement with the base circle of 30 mm, roller radius 10 mm, maximum lift is 45 mm, and the rise stroke is for 70 degrees, which is of cycloidal nature. Okay, followed by dwell period of 45 degrees, return stroke of 120 degrees. This is the given data to us, and whenever a cycloidal type of follower motion is given in the problem, we need to do some additional calculation which I had shown you before. I'll just repeat that. So what we need to calculate is radius of the rolling circle. So the equation used here is h is equal to 2 pi r, where h stands for the maximum lift, which is 45 mm, equal to 2 pi r, and r stands for the radius of rolling circle. So with this equation we have got r equal to 7.1 mm. So I am going to use this in the displacement diagram at the later stage, but you will have to just remember this is what we have calculated, and we have got this radius of rolling circle r equal to 7.1 mm. Okay. Then we have constructed the displacement diagram by taking the height of this rectangle. Height is equal to h. H is nothing but 45 mm. So h is, which is nothing but 45 mm. So I have taken the height of rectangle as 45 mm, and width, you just draw a random line and start marking the rise stroke, dwell stroke and return stroke. So the rise stroke is for 70 degrees, so you can mark approximately, not approximately, you can mark exactly either 7 centimeters, or you can scale it down further and make it as 3.5 centimeters also. Okay, so if you are drawing in a landscape mode in a book, then you can draw this as 7 centimeters, followed by a dwell period of 45 degrees, so this will be 4.5 centimeters, followed by a return stroke of 120 degrees, so this will be of 12 centimeters. Okay. After this, whatever comes will be the remaining dwell period, which since we are not bothered of, because this is not going to get reflected anywhere in the construction of the cam profile, it will continue with the base circle. Since it is a dwell period, it will continue with the base circle. So I am not going to measure this remaining dwell portion. You can just draw a zigzag line which will indicate that there is a further area left or further length left over here for the displacement diagram, which we are not indicating. Okay. So I have covered till here. Next step, again it is a common one. We have to divide the rise stroke and the return stroke into equal number of parts. In the previous problem we have done it with the 6 divisions. I will repeat the same thing here. So I will divide the rise stroke and return stroke in 6 divisions. Remember, these are only the construction lines. So while you are drawing in your book, you are supposed to draw them in a with the thin lines. But because of the visibility purpose, I am going to draw them a little bit dark. Okay. Next step is, once you make the divisions, you are supposed to do the numbering. So I will start with 0 here, followed by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. This is 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 and 13. I have done with the numbering also. Okay. And in the next step, I need to draw the displacement profile of the follower. For the right stroke, it is for cycloidal, and we have already calculated the radius of rolling circle, which is 7 mm. Okay, just 7 mm. So I need to draw that particular circle exactly at point 0. So that means at point 0 you are supposed to draw a circle whose radius will be equal to 7.1 mm or diameter equal to 14.2 mm. Okay, at point 0 I have drawn the rolling circle whose dimension we have already calculated, that is radius of 7.1 mm. Okay, so you are supposed to draw this circle. Now what exactly we need to do with this circle, if I show here, I think it might not be clearly visible for you guys. So what I'm going to do is, temporarily I'll just zoom this particular area and I'll draw it here, and I'll explain you the steps of what has to be done with that circle, and then I'll implement the drawing in the main displacement diagram. So just let me zoom this. So this is the rolling circle radius. This is the rolling circle. Okay. I'll repeat. Whatever circle I have drawn here, the same circle I have enlarged it and I have drawn here so that it will be visible for you guys as to be what has to be done with the circle. Okay. So once the circle is drawn, in the next step you are supposed to divide the circle into same number of parts as you have divided the right stroke and return stroke. That is, I have to divide this into 6 equal parts starting from a horizontal line. So this is very important. So if I draw a horizontal line at the center, this becomes my reference line. With this reference line, I should go on dividing into 6 parts. So total 360 degrees, 360 divided by 6. So you can just go on measuring the angle of 60 degrees each. You will get the 6 divisions. So I'll just mark those divisions over here. So this is the first division at 60 degrees. Second division will be at 120 degrees over here. Third division at the horizontal line, 180 degrees plus again 60 degrees, you will get it here. And this will be the last. So I'll just number them. This is the starting from 1. Yeah. 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. Okay, this is how you are supposed to divide this circle. Once the division is done, in the next step we will be joining the line 2 and 3 by a straight line. Line 1 and 4 is already joined. I'll just darken it. And line by joining points 5 and 6. Okay. I'll also draw one vertical line for reference. Okay, done. So this is the initial construction you need to do with respect to the rolling circle. Divide them into 6 parts, join 2 and 3 horizontal line, join 1 and 4 with the horizontal line, join 5 and 6 with the horizontal line, and just draw one vertical line for your reference. Okay. Once this is done, the next step is very simple. I hope this is clear till this step. The next step, I will locate the center of this circle. Okay, I'll locate the center of this circle, and I will locate the midpoint of the middlemost line in this particular right stroke. So in this right stroke, if I want to locate the middle line, that is nothing but line number 3. Okay, line number 3 is the middle line in the right stroke. So for this particular middle line, I'll again further locate the midpoint of this. I'll repeat the step. In the right stroke, you locate the middlemost line. The middlemost line is line number 3. For that particular line, again you locate the midpoint and highlight it. Okay. Once you locate the midpoint, so in this diagram, say let us assume that it has come over here, the midpoint. So the first line what you are supposed to draw is from the center of the circle, you join this particular midpoint which you have drawn. That's the first step. In the second step, from the midpoint of the bottommost line, you draw a line which is parallel to the previously drawn line in this fashion. And from the topmost line, again from the midpoint, draw a line parallel to the previously drawn line. So like this, you are supposed to get 3 lines. Okay, so don't get confused. It is a very simple step. Draw a circle, divide into 6 parts, draw horizontal lines, and draw such slant lines. Okay, these slant lines I have told you how to get it. So I will just demonstrate the same thing over here in the main diagram. Okay. So in the first step, from the center of the circle to the midpoint of the middle line, I will draw a line. Okay, in the second step, okay, I have not divided this circle, so let me divide this. Okay, in the second step, from the lower horizontal line, that is this one, 5 to 6, from the center of that line, I will draw another parallel line in this fashion. Okay, and from the top line, I will draw another parallel line. Which will be something like this. So you will be getting 3 lines. In the next step, you see the lowermost slant line that you have drawn, that is this one, the lowermost slant line what you have drawn, that line will cut line number 1 and line number 2 at P1 and P2. P1 and P2. I'll repeat, the lowermost slant line will cut line number 1 and line number 2 at P1 and P2. The middle slant line will cut line number 3 at P3, and the topmost slant line will cut line number 4 and line number 5 at P4 and P5. Okay, of course the end point over here at the top will be P6, because that will be the end of rise stroke. So once you get all these points, next step is to draw or connect them with the smooth curve starting from 0 through P1, P2, P3, P4, P5 and P6. So it will be a smooth curve. In this fashion. Okay. I hope this is clear. If not, you can refer any textbook for this particular type of polar motion, that is cycloidal, and if you have any doubts, any clarification needed, you can call me or message me. So once we complete this, from here the dual period starts. That means there is no displacement variation. The follower displacement is 0, so it will neither rise nor it will fall down. So it will continue with the horizontal line up till P7. Okay, once it reaches P7, that means it is the end of dual period. Now it is the start of the return stroke, and the return stroke is taking place with uniform velocity. So it is nothing but a straight line. So automatically here at the intersection points you will get P8, P9, P10, P11, P12 and P13. Okay. So once you locate all the position points, your displacement diagram is complete. Please ensure that you are mentioning all the dimensions, that is the height, the rise stroke, dwell, return stroke, the numbering of the divisions, the intersection points. So all these things should be numbered or labeled properly for displacement diagram. Once this is done, then we'll switch to the cam profile. So I'll start drawing the cam profile by first drawing the base circle. So the dimension for base circle is it's having a radius of 30 mm. So I'll draw the base circle of 30 mm. This is a base circle of diameter how much? Since the radius is 30 mm, so diameter is 60 mm. So I've drawn the base circle of 60 mm diameter. Also located the center. Okay. Now remember, this is a roller radius problem. So I'll draw a roller follower at the initial position, it is over here. So this is the roller follower that I have drawn, and for that roller the dimension is given that it is having a radius of 10 mm. So I have drawn a circle whose radius is 10 mm at the top, that is the initial position of the follower. The next step, again, which will be common to most of the problems, I'll divide this circle into right stroke, dwell stroke and return stroke as we have done in the displacement diagram. So the right stroke is for 70 degrees. Okay. This angle is 70, followed by a dwell period of 45 degrees. So this angle is 45. Then return stroke is 120 degrees. So this angle is 120. Okay. I'll just erase these angles which I have drawn here for clarity. So in the next step, I will again divide the rise stroke and return stroke into 6 parts as we have done here. So the same procedure. After dividing them, I am again joining them with the radial lines extended as we have seen in the previous lecture. Okay, 6 divisions, let me name them. So this point 1, this point is 2, this point is 3, 4, 5 and 6. Because this is a dwell period, so this will be 0.7. I'll repeat the same steps for return stroke. So it will be 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 and 13. Okay, now comes the tricky part. So please listen carefully. Generally, next step what you used to do is, if I want to locate P1 over there, you would generally measure the distance from 1 to P1 and mark it there and finish up the problem. But here it's slightly problematic here. At this particular point P1 or P2 or P3, whatever is there, please remember I am not going to get the center of this particular roller radius. At these points, what I will be getting is the tangential of that particular rolling radius. That means this is how it is supposed to look. Say for example at P7 the roller will be here. At P8 the roller will be something like this. At P9 the roller will be something like this. So at every position points, what I am getting is not the center of the roller, but I am getting the tangent of that particular point. So if I locate those P points here, what is the problem? So we'll just have a small exercise to understand what will be the problem. Suppose if I locate a particular point and if I ask you to draw a circle of 10 mm radius such that the circumference will touch this particular point. If this is the task given, then one student might draw a circle like this. Circumference is touching the point, 10 mm. Another student might draw a circle like this. Still the point is touching the circumference. Still it is 10 mm. Okay. So another student might draw it like this. So there can be infinite solutions. So if I locate P1, P2 here and try to draw circle such that it touches the circumference, then I will be having infinite solutions. So what I need is unique solution. If I give another case study or another exercise wherein if I tell that this is a point you need to draw a circle of 10 mm radius such that this point becomes the center of that circle. Then your answer will be this. So you will be having a unique answer now. 10 mm radius circle, this point becomes the center of the circle. This is the only unique answer. Okay. So I need to focus on this particular unique answer over here. That means I need to locate those points which are the center of the rollers, not the tangential point. So instead of here, I need to locate the point here. So this distance is nothing but equal to radius of circle. So to get this or to solve this problem, we shall draw one more circle whose center will be the center of base circle and whose radius will be equal to base circle radius plus roller radius. That means it will be 30 mm plus 10 mm. So you need to draw a circle with 40 mm radius. Okay. I have drawn an additional circle whose radius is 40 mm, that is 30 plus 10 mm of the roller. Now I will measure the distance P1 from point 1 and I'll set the compass for this particular distance and I'll cut the arc not starting from the base circle but starting from the new circle. Okay. So when you cut the arc, I'll just name this as T1 now. Similarly, to get P2, I'll measure it from point 2 to P2, set the compass and cut the arc starting from the new circle to get T2. Similarly, for 3 I'll cut the arc, for 4 also I'll cut the arc, 5 and 6. So this becomes T3, T4, T5, T6. Okay. So now all I have to do is set the compass with a radius of 10 mm and with the T1, T2, T3, T4, T5, T6 as the centers, you need to draw the rollers. So with the T1 as a center, if I draw the roller, it will come like this. With T2 as a center, if you draw the roller, it will come like this. Now every time you need not draw the complete circle, or all I can do is see with T3 as a center, I'll just draw a small arc over here. Instead of making the complete roller, I'll just set the compass for 10 mm radius and I'll just draw the small arc. Similarly for T4, I'll draw the small arc. For T5, I'll draw the small arc. For T6 also, I'm going to draw the small arc. Okay. We'll continue the same step for return stroke as well. So from 7 to P7, you measure this distance, set the compass here, and from the new circle, remember don't draw it, measure it from base circle now. From the new circle, you can cut this arc. To get T7, similarly T8, T9, T10, T11, T12 and T13. Again, I'll repeat the same steps with the T7 as the center, radius of 10 mm, I'll draw a small arc. With the T8 as the center, radius of 10 mm, we'll draw a small arc. For T9, I've drawn the arc. For T10, the arc is drawn. For T11, the arc is drawn, and for T12 also, arc is drawn. So once you get all these arcs, your job is to start from this point 0 and go on drawing a smooth curve such that the curve will be tangential to these rollers. That means it will touch these curves at only one single point. It should be a smooth curve touching the arcs tangentially in this fashion. This orange line is your cam profile. Please ensure that the smooth curve while you are drawing tangential to these arcs, at any given point do not draw the line intersecting inside the arc. That means the cam profile should not intersect the roller. The roller and the cam profile should connect only tangentially, it cannot be intersecting. So that's why the smooth curve that we have drawn is only tangential to these rolling radius curves. Okay, so I hope this problem is clear. As I said, if you have any queries or doubts, you can text me or WhatsApp me, or you can call me and I'll clarify the doubts. Okay, so this completes the problems of cam profile, wherein we have included all types of follower, that is uniform velocity, all type of follower motion, that is uniform velocity, SHM, UARM, that is uniform acceleration and retardation motion, and cycloidal motion. We have also covered all types of follower, that is I have covered knife edge follower and I have covered the roller follower. We have covered the follower axis being inline, as well as I have covered the problem where the follower axis is offset. Now only another one type of problem is remaining. All these problems that we have done so far, here the follower is reciprocating. Okay, the follower will keep moving up and down, that is it reciprocates. I'll be taking up a problem wherein now the follower will oscillate. So oscillating follower has to be considered for solving the problem. So that will take up in the next class. And for displacement diagram, I think we'll take cycloidal and UARM, so that it will be again a repetition for you guys. So we'll solve a problem tomorrow wherein the displacement diagram will involve cycloidal motion and uniform acceleration and retardation motion, and the cam profile will include a follower which is oscillating. Okay, that will take up in the next class.